Listen,
See, but like
actually,
you want it this close, so that's what you want.
I mean, you look great. I mean, and the background's kind of blurry, which is kind of, it's got a cool effect happening. We both have our special room moments happening right
I'm
now.
in my office chair.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. I
Is it
don't
gonna
know.
be work to recall some of the stuff I'm gonna be asking about, or?
Oh, sure. Why not? Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go.
My name
It's
is
Friday. I'm
Jello.
on vacation.
That's the
I'm in a
utility
good mood.
room. We're in it right now. That's JennStar, legendary awesome sauce
There
of
you go.
Toronto. So stoked to see you.
I know, it's awesome. Good to
You-
see you too.
I
How's
was
the family?
My family's fantastic. How's everything going with
Awesome.
you?
Everything's great.
Yeah.
I haven't killed him yet. We're doing good. I've been doing good things. I did a by-election. I've been working hard and just trying to get through it day by day.
Do you think that this is perhaps some of the strangest times in history? That
Absolutely, but things could always get stranger.
It's funny. I've remarked about this before that I mean these circumstances are obviously it's its own thing. It's not the first time though that the Toronto dance scene was seemingly threatened to. I mean, this is definitely a full stop, but it seems like the
Right.
authorities have tried to shut it down a few times before this. So it always was able to persevere, and I don't think anyone's
Right.
dance scene was able to with the pandemic.
Well, I would like to think that all these great sets that people are putting out and making the effort, like yourself, doing their weekly shows and things like that, are the way that we keep connected. And I've had some dance parties like to DJ sets in my living room, so I've felt my connection. I try to keep it like you can't stay away, and you just gotta have to find your way to have that fun or that connection, like I'm doing right now.
Right.
Like we might not have bumped into each other for a couple more years or whatever, but here was a prime opportunity and we find ourselves and we connect, right? So this is awesome. And I would like to think that people could remember that and try to do that. And I think they are.
Yes, Jed. Bring
Yeah,
us
man.
back. What happened? What was your first bite with electronic music? How did it get
Oh,
started? Who
Chris
was Jen
Shepard and
before Jen
Bobo, when
Star?
I worked at RPM, they told me about a rave that they went to in New York City and the shenanigans that went on with that and how that vision kind of brought that through. I was still Jen from RPM at that time, Jen from RPM. So at
Well,
that time, like that's what I did. And that's, that kind of interest and, CF and Y for sure. And Headley and Don Burns and anybody that was into any kind of counterculture of what was going on. That kind of got my education at RPM, and I just kind of fell into it and went to school at Harris Institute for the Arts and was very much about electronic music even then and pop music. That was the time where cassettes and CDs and mini discs and all those kind of things were coming out. And I was working at RPM, and Deco and Zazie came in, and they had a group called Baby Robot. Bless them both. They're both partying right now together. But yeah, Zazie just looked at me one day and says, "You're not a Jen, you're a Jen Stahl," and it was over. And it was a little, kind of thing, and that name just kind of stuck. So I was at Harris. Try Magazine was around that time, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to babysit bands, and wasn't quite sure. But I had this connection to RPM, and was going to these underground parties, and the first party at Nitrous, and we had a secret way to get in, and all that jazz, and that's kind of when it unfolded, and I became Jen, and Alex D told me I was the marketable product, and maybe I should just be about myself. So I shamelessly self-promoted JennStar and started nights called She'll Make You Famous, and was involved in many nightclubs and many parties, and I supported. I knew a lot of people, so I just that's how she unrolled, and
what was that
I found
first
myself
venue?
having a lot of fun. Sorry,
What was? No, I'm sorry. I'm jumping in. I'm excited. I'm
that's
excited though
okay.
because you're saying stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but oh wait, but yes, that sounds awesome. Except, um, what was the first club? Where were you in Toronto? Was this a big space, a small space?
RPM, that was the government.
What
Before the government was RPM.
I
That's
mean
where
is
I grew
Gen
up.
Star though? Like, I mean, were you?
Oh yeah, that was Phipps. Well, ironically, it wasn't Phipps Street. Had become Jen Star, and I was doing a Friday night over at Adelaide and Church, between Richmond and Church, And it was like the old I can't remember what it was called right now, sorry. Cannabis is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It'll come to me. Anyways, I was doing Friday nights with Mark Oliver, and Ganesha was my doorman. And then ironically, my neighbor right now, John Wolf, gave me an opportunity, and Jet and John gave me an opportunity to come to do a Friday night at Joy. And so that's where we launched Friday nights. And it was, nobody was doing parties on Friday nights, and nobody was opening at midnight. And we opened up to midnight to 5 a.m. and just tried to throw this little jam full of anybody. The rule was everybody was welcome, but idiots and assholes. So that's how we did Friday night. She'll Make You Famous at Joy. I did that with Gavin Bryan and Namdi Griffith and Jason Hodges. And we had a bunch of people there. We had our own Toronto DJs, and we shared DJs with Montreal, like Alain Vinet and Christian Pronovo, and Mark Anthony, and like Luc Ramon, who is our brother. So we kind of just started sharing DJs back and forth on Fridays, and in came Def Mix DJs. And Ashley and the boys at Better Days asked if Deep Dish could come and do a warm up, and they came and played. And we had this magical time of like celebrities popping in and going into this little curtained off back room. It was just like this crazy ass time. And they're drag queens and gay and straight, black and white, boys and girls, girls and girls. It didn't matter. Just no idiots and assholes. That was the rule. So we used to shoot like serve contraband booze, but those people didn't pay to get in. They got in for free, and we didn't charge them for the booze. So technically, we weren't really doing anything wrong. And they let us go on for a while. It was a magical time. Buzz was just starting at that time too, and Future Shock was just rolling out and stuff like that. And we were collective and did our individual things at the same time. So that was kind of it.
Do you think that this community that was tight knit and was sharing talent with each other and ideas with each other, this is one of the reasons why the house music scene in Toronto really had a lot of fuel behind it to blast off and take hold, capturing the
Well, even
imaginations of people across the city?
absolutely, but it wasn't just us. It was like, the Teddies and, the Edwards and the people that were doing these wicked ass parties prior to that, that showed this type of music, and, took and brought in DJs from Chicago that we have come to love and promote, and, other people from New York and stuff. So there was always kind of this, you know, quadruple. And so, like, the club scene, we all kind of had parties together. We were starting things out, and it at least ignited a flame in house music and underground parties and stuff in clubs, for that matter. So we always had a strong connection to Montreal. They're our family, and we've been going there since the early 90s, me in the 80s. And and just forging relationships, and with Stereo and Sona, and the 514 crew, and even people prior to that, with the upbeat records. So, like, that's just history. That's just family forging. And then you get the relationship broadens, and then you go to places like the Music Winter Conference, and you meet more people there. So it's just about relationship building and seeing the identical things happening and unfolding in cities around the towns and worlds, and next thing you know, you have a movement.
I think to myself today how people would want to communicate that they've got a party happening, how they would let people know. Uh,
Well, very selectively.
I don't. I don't.
That's
Okay.
that's the only way.
I should rewind. So say
Yeah.
2019. How promoting worked in 2019, and I mean, like, leading everything was social media, digital, promoting early on, before that happened, before social media and invite your friends list happened. What was your methodology behind that? What was take us into it? Like, how would you let people know that a party
Go
was
out and
happening?
see people, and see what's happening, and network, and have one-on-one FaceTime, and party, and look and see what you could do better, or what you're doing wrong, like, just going out and being a part of something. And if doing that is digital these times, it's still, it's communication. Like, get out there and face people, build your relationships. I know a lot of people, and there's some people I don't, kind of thing. So at the end of the day, if you want something to happen, you have to build a relationship. If you want to be authentic, good luck. Sometimes you got to sell out just a little bit to get something good, kind of thing, and consistent. But at the end of the day, people will find their niche cores, their core niches or whatever, whether they're going to be long lasting trends or great people. Like there's some great people that have been throwing parties behind us and will continue to do forward beyond us. It's just they'll have to find their way. Communities aren't built overnight, they're forged. They're built upon relationships. Like you and I have known each other for a very long time, and we kind of like worked in different little worlds, but we did our thing and we did it collectively and singularly, so it's just about building relationships and having mutual respect, right? So it's community building, communities,
I think back like
relationships.
way back, if I had a mixtape that I had done, it was new. You were definitely on my mind as one of the first people that I had to get that mixtape. I had to get it into Jen's hands. It was and it felt like that. Yeah, it didn't matter if something was happening that you were there. Your finger, I wasn't on the pulse.
No.
I feel like somehow your finger was plugged into the pulse. When you did start throwing the parties, though, I mentioned a lot of Toronto's gone through adversities over time.
Hmm.
You've seen these things that have happened. I think rave, house music, techno, jungle, drum and bass. At one point, these were bad things, or
Hmm.
maybe what generally was associated with something that could be rotten.
Right.
What was some of the challenges that you faced, and how did you get through them when you were throwing parties? Did
Well, you
you?
have to you have to be willing to accept, responsibility, and you have to be ready to, take action. Look at, people go out for different reasons, and you can't always have this perfect utopia. It'll never happen, right? You ride the good times when you can, and you take care when they're not good times, and you just figure it out. Sometimes it gets daunting and tiring and exhausting, but again, you always have to remember that, there's some purity out there, and just, once it goes past, there's always a tipping point, right? And then the innocence is lost. It's like growing up as a child. There's a tipping point to all of a sudden you understand how the world works. And and people forget what the message is. So it's a very difficult thing to contain, but it's not hard for people to have that commitment, I suppose. I don't know. I'm stoned.
It's no, it's an interesting answer. Did you find that did you ever have any personal backlash from close friends, family who were like,
All the time.
"What are you
People
doing?"
thought I was crazy. Yeah, all the time.
Did they ever have a looking glass moment? Like, did family
Yes,
or close friends ever have a look when they got
absolutely.
to see inside and they were like, "Oh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
was
My game.
this?"
My mother. I brought my mother to the nightclub. Sorry, the nightclub awards for the lifetime achievement, and I brought my mom and my aunt down just to show her what was going on, right? And then she came to my 30th birthday party, my 40th birthday party, and my 50th birthday party, and she understood, the community, right? And your friends and your family and these people that you grew up with. And I had good 25 plus years, some 30 years in front of me in one place, and that to me was an honor. And so I have advantages for being old, but I also have forged great relationships with people that we share the same struggle, we have the same ideas, and we've shared a journey together. That people I've known in the club business or in the party business or wherever, I've had relationships for 30 years in the city, even longer. So there's a great wealth of relationship building, that's gone on, and friendship and support.
Do you find yourself still interacting with a similar core people that you were interacting back then? Are they still a part of like the?
People will come in and out of your life, Jello, like this, like ta-da, here we are, kind of thing. So, we will always have a connection. We will always reunite. It's the cycle of life. It's circle. It's just science, right? We all revolve in different, frequencies, and sometimes we're at the same time. We're in a meeting point, like we are right now. Can you tell I watched a lot of Fringe this COVID period
That's
and X
fine.
Files?
Yeah, no, you're the meta is awesome. I'm
I don't know. This is the weed that we grew this summer. So
you
it's a
grew
little bit of a
cannabis this
stoner
summer?
weed.
Is it
Yeah,
is
I
it
do.
is it
Second
sick?
year in a row.
What have you got?
Yeah,
You got a sativa, you got an indica, you
it's a
got a
hybrid
it's a
for sure.
hybrid? Fifty
But
fifty.
yeah,
What's your split?
I don't know. I just like good. I don't want to get too cray cray, and this sometimes can make you very deep in thought and creative, and I like it. Somebody told me I think they called it juicy fruit, but I don't know. I
Okay.
get some plants and I try to grow them, and this is what I got this year.
When you think back to house music, do you find that there was that darling moment, I guess, the lightning in a bottle for Toronto, where the party started getting bigger? You know, your phone went from, okay, I'm getting 100 messages a day, to holy shit, there's 1,000 people trying to reach me right now. Um,
Yeah,
what was happening in the city? What was it? I guess I'm really trying to figure out.
it
What
was the
was
tipping point.
Do you remember what do you think about that was, I guess, the cause?
um, I don't know, just everybody. Like it was just there was these magic couple of years, like from '93, well, to about '98, but the prime time being '94 to '96 were probably
Do you
some
know
of the
why I'm
most
asking, Jen?
magical years.
I'm asking because I think to myself, Toronto, I don't know if what happened here in Toronto happened everywhere else. It didn't seem like it did. I mean, like, yes, there's cities that, like, clearly you'd hear about it because there'd be a popular DJ. New York, for example, just right off the top of my head, they had, Junior Backus, they had Danny Tenaglia, they had these legends that were at these
Yeah,
legendary venues that, people, you couldn't miss it if you wanted to hear this music, if you wanted to be a part of these moments and capture it, the audio Polaroid, the physical eyeball Polaroid of it. The only way you could do it was to get involved.
yeah,
Which is, it's obviously, I'm not, forget the pandemic. Even like 2 years before that, I mean, if you wanted a form of involvement, it was, you know, oh, okay, that's what it is. You get an idea, as compared to where you're, before walking into something, you didn't know what you were getting. Almost like a Cracker Jack box. And I and so I think about this moment that happened, because I mean, this happened before me. I know about it because I heard about this moment, whatever this tipping point might be.
I don't know. It was magic. There was just people involved. There was community. People are doing stuff. We were supporting each other. We were promoting each other. We were collectively, people had vision together. And so we just kind of did what we did. We had no master plan. It was just this is how it unfolded. And we took the next steps and other people followed behind us. And so we just had this, activity. There was some magic times going on. Like at one time, Toronto was seriously popping on an international level. And, because we had everybody come to us, we didn't necessarily go out there, but we provided that, doorway when we brought everybody in. So, Toronto was a hot spot and it's still a hot spot of people coming in and out of the city. I might not be personally involved in what's happening right now or what's going on right now, but I have a lot of respect for the people that are forging these new networks and people that have a platform now because of video and are building their networks again. So I don't know. It's just a different form of what we've always done. And everything is life is cyclic. What goes up must come down. And there's a dying out period and there's a rebuilding period and there's peaks and valleys. But like that's just life. So we're going to come around again. And I think it's going to be interesting how all of these networks and virtual platforms that are going on right now can connect again. And, we see something building upon that. And, that cross promoting and, channels may be developed out of that. So if you're young, like yourself, and smart, this would be a great avenue to perhaps, build a video network.
I think about the camaraderie that you were talking about, and how you guys were getting together and you were working with each other and helping each other. Uh, One of those big camaraderie moments was Industry Nightclub. Um, a group of people
Yeah.
who had been working together, people who were friends. I'm literally talking about shit that I heard.
Yep.
I'd like to hear your perspective. What
It was a
happened?
wonderful and magical time. of a lot of, well, 11 unique individuals collectively, that we've worked together for years, and some that were brought in new to do different things. And there were different roles. There were owners, and there were people that, helped put together the parties and hosted those parties and took care of that, particular aspect of it. And then, of course, there was just the music. And that music and those relationships and those people that came to play for us were people we forged relationships with. They came, and in the early days, they slept on our couches. And then later, when, things got better, they slept in good hotels. And, they met our families and they came to Toronto, and we actually gave a shit and, took them out for dinner and got to know them. Like, it's called relationship building. It's about wanting to reach out with people and connect with people because you either admire them or they interest you or pique your interest, or you were brought together in a moment of time. And what you build out of that moment in time is up to you. Like, are you going to let it fizzle out, or are you going to capitalize on that by building a relationship? I guess that's the, like, the lesson of the day. Like, I know a lot of people, and, I might not be out there anymore, and I might not be totally active on social media all the time. But when I open my phone, I see things from people like, oh, hey, whatever. And, we touched base in a different way. And sometimes people will pop into my head and I'll reach them a message and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. And there you are. It's like weird things, but like, I just find people, when I need them, and they find me when I need them, you know
What
or
do you
vice
think it
versa.
was? What do you think it was for people that were coming out to industry? What was
I
it
hope it
that
was a lot of fun, but it was fucking magic, dude. Like, I can't even describe it. It was just, I we all had experience throwing parties in nightclubs and things like that. And, we did all the warehouse parties, and they were growing. And, you know, you couldn't do illegal after hour parties anymore. It had to be in a legal space and all of those things. So it was just natural that we went to try to find our own space. It was just a natural progression. And, it just came together, and it was just this magical place. It was an effort of a lot of people making that stuff go on a weekly basis for 4 years, or plus. So it's I don't know, it's just magic, and it happened, and it was with a bunch of good people that are still in connection with each other. And it's just, again, it's a family experience. But nothing, what goes up must come down, and the cycle goes around and around. There you go.
do you think that um the other clubs in the city were taking notice to what industry was up to and tried to replicate that?
Well, I sure as hell hope so. What was the point if we did it just and nobody, noticed?
Did you hear about it from other cities outside of Toronto? Did you hear people, oh my God, I went to industry, it was this, it was that, fucking amazing, let's do that here. Did you
Yeah.
hear? And
Well, isn't that the point though of this whole journey, was to get as many people to listen to house music as possible, to unite people to the way that we feel when we dance to this music, and the community that we build and the relationships that we forge. Some of them are lifelong and trustworthy relationships because we were all together at this particular moment in time, So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've heard people about it. I'm very proud of that. I think that's wicked. I'm very humbled about it. I don't care. Like, I just did what I did, and I did it as fun, and I took a lot of people along with me as much as I could. Let's have fun.
I'm thinking about some of those
Yeah.
fun moments that you were having. It went from being on land on the dance floor to fuck it, let's get on the water and make that the dance floor.
Right?
Can you tell us a little bit
We need
about
an after party.
so what was the boat cruise adventure? Because this was
Uh,
ongoing for a long time. I mean, you were
well, it
selling out
started a
boats
long
like it
time ago.
was.
Well, it was fun. And again, you expect other people to follow suit and do what you do. And again, what goes up must come down. The cycle goes around. Sometimes you get a long extended period, and sometimes they come in short little bursts. But it doesn't matter. You just got to ride it. And like you said, okay, so let me just give you one piece of advice for anybody that wants to start out. When I was working at RPM, I was just finishing up at Harris Institute for the Arts, and I had to write about somebody that I admire, and I had to do it on the management side of uh, of Harris Institute. So I was on RAM, Recording Arts Management side, And I had to find these people that I had to talk about. And so I'm working at RPM. I'm listening to all of these great alternative bands that are coming in and being brought. All the cutting edge shit coming into Toronto was brought in by the Garys, which is Gary Cormier and Gary Top. And I was very privileged to have worked with such great people, and like people like Gareth Brown, who brought the Rolling Stones in. And like RPM was my education. That's where I learned everything, that I needed to learn. Hats off to Murray Ball, Martin Arts, bless his soul. Peter, he was like the ultimate guru to me. He used to be Ozzy Osbourne's tour manager. So like I got a great education in a different kind of world, and then kind of made what I did for a living, into a living in this ultimate world of house music and underground music. So I did do my homework, and I did know that this is what I wanted to do. And then everything just happened naturally, the good, bad, and ugly. There were a lot of trip ups and falters, a lot of tears spent, and, you know, hands and frustration in the air, fighting, but there was more love and fun and exciting adventures. Like, that it outweighed the bad. And that's what I'm getting at with the Garys is they told me, you'll never make money at this business. You'll lose more than you make, but it's all worth it. Then you turn around and say, but it's all worth it for the ones that you cut the slice, you opened the door, or you showed the world this particular artist and people paid notice, and then everybody else capitalized on it. You'll win more than you lose. But if you're a pioneer, you can make anything happen. So I didn't listen to them, and I did it, but it's the truth. It's a gamble. What goes up must come down. You can do whatever you want. You can have the best music in the world. You can have the best club in the world. You can have, the most people in the world, but you don't always get the honest and true vibe. You don't get to be cool. You don't get to see the real, raw, on the edge, the real deal shit, not the glitzed up glam. The energy comes from within. So, I mean, yeah, there's been some great, battles about which parties are better, but that's a personal choice. So, whatever. I just wish that everybody that came through any of my doors had fun, and I wanted them to have fun. That's it. And I made sure that people had fun.
Would you say that there was a venue at a party or a specific event that you were a part of that was like still to this day gives you tingles in your fingers?
Well, there's so many of them, but the first time Danny Snagely played at Industry was probably my, one of the most legendary. And then when he played when we closed. So, but there's been awesome nights like Honey Dijon's debut. God bless Honey. I love Honey. And it was the Freaks come out on Halloween at Industry. This is when Honey was just breaking out huge, and that's another one of my favorite moments because she played with my favorite DJ, Derek Carter. And and it was just this magical night, and Jason Ford and I just put on quite the little shows every now and again all night long, dressed in different outfits, showing up at Seven Fisher at Industry wearing bunny outfits, me and Eddie K breaking into Industry in bunny outfits and going to the stage and freaking out Seven Fisher. And then he realized it was him, Eddie and I, and he nearly fell over laughing because it was just this. He's so paranoid sometimes when he plays and stuff, and so here you got these two bouncing bunnies being relentless at him. And that was kind of a fun time. I don't know, when I almost lit the whole club on fire with a bunch of sparklers on the 4th of July. I mean, there's just so many, doing my martini bar, having Danny Snagely drink with me at my martini bar, like just little things. And these relationships. Then God bless Kevin McHugh. I love you. I've had so much good times with so many good people. I've met so many people from around the world. I still talk to people all the time. I mean, again, Jello, they just pop up, and you make that effort and you find people and you do it. I just, there's other things that I have to do in my life, and it can't necessarily be social media, but I always find good music. Or should I say, good music always finds me.
What are you listening to
And
right now, JennStar? What's your mixtape?
um, well, you know what? Like, I have to give some props. Like, so again, I just find these things at a time, and I listen to it for a bit. And Nathan Barato had this great little pod show. So now, you're probably going to turn into my next favorite, Jello. because, like, I just listen to these podcasts and these radio shows that go on for an hour. This isn't what he does, but I just found these little sets that he did were different time and different days. And you have to remember, Nathan Barada was one of my family too, that came out of Giant on Friday nights at and it just, anyways, just long histories. So I found this little collection of his. I've been listening to all of his little shows at least 3 times now, just like, because they're little hour shows, and while I'm working I can keep it low, but like sometimes I have to get up and turn it up. But I don't know, like, I still found Fred everything again. I love him. I don't know, like, I just find these sets, like, everybody, I can't even begin to remember half of them, you know I have so much crazy tastes. And Jojo Flores, like him and I, at the beginning of this COVID nightmare and Fred everything, we were all in sync. And every day I would do my work to Jojo Flores's lunchtime show, and then I'd listen to Louis Vega on some days, and then I'd find these other shows that would pop up. So I don't know. I've just been listening to a mishmash of everything.
Was there ever a venue in Toronto that you wish that you could throw a party at, but you were unable to?
Oh, many.
Is there a
Yeah.
standout one?
No, no, not really. I mean, I did, get to do something at almost every one of them. So I can't say I missed out or one thing was better than the other. We've had some serious times wherever I went, and government included. I used to have a lot of fun there. The Orange Room, dude, the Orange Room, we had this crazy little network. I started bringing in DJs all the time. So like Derek Carter, sorry, J Dub, freaking Gene Ferris, all the Chicago kids. We had a great magical relationship with Chicago. We love Chicago, and Heather, but like all these DJs. But there was a couple of nights where we did some other big names that came. So I don't know. Orange Room was fun too at government when I was there. Um, I don't know. I just had a lot of fun parties, but I'm like in a whole different world now, and I'm a virtual dancer now.
Is that working out for you? Are you loving it? Do you feel the
um,
energy?
yeah, you know what? Like, again, like I love the little live shows when I can catch them on a Friday, usually between, 7 and midnight are good for me. So, if I can catch them and I'm not doing something else, I try to put those on Friday nights. If I can, I'll catch somebody, pop in and out, or just listening to the sets that come pop up in you know, my, my emails, my SoundCloud, my Mixcloud, whatever. Like, I just get things sent to me. I'll listen to them, and if I can find it, I'll add it. you know, Got Facebook. If I like something, I'll post it. It's just one of those things. Like, send it to me. You got 18 bars to like make me listen to the rest of it.
I like that.
Just
What
a true music person.
do you do
Yeah.
you do you think that, firstly, do you still have the request for you to go out and throw the party? And when that
Every now and
happens,
again.
do you ever stop and think to yourself, man, I gotta get this one. I gotta get this one done. Do you still feel the
No.
call of it?
Yeah, no, people ask me all the time. I do what I can. I can't promise you I'm going to come out. That's been my standard long line for a long time. But, you know, when this crazy lockdown and shit is going to go, over, and even if we're allowed to congregate, and if I have to wear a mask I will,
Oh,
but
you
we will
changed
be able.
you changed
Oh,
your gotta
what happened there?
the screen. You changed their, remember, you
I
with your hand, yeah.
Uh-oh. Like this? Is
Like,
that better?
no, no, I mean, sort of. Yeah, yeah, no, no, wait, no, yeah, yes, yes, yes. That's great.
Okay,
That,
okay, okay.
I really love that you were able to join us today here in the
I
utility
have no
room.
idea what I said, and I'm hoping I didn't say anything wrong, because, like,
No,
I
everything,
could be
your
in
whole
trouble,
message
right?
is actually, it's super strong, super positive. Uh, you know, it, I you're still JennStar.
Grandma JennStar. I'm JennStar 5.0, actually, the best version yet.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm a marketing guru. I love you, Jello. Listen, Josh, I love you. You've been in my heart for a very long time. Keep doing what you're doing. Send me some beats. Every now and again, I gotta freaking clean the house, so I gotta do something that'll get me going. And you get me going.
Cheers.
And so just keep doing what you're doing. Keep connecting. Keep building relationships. Keep reaching out. keep doing those things. Those are the things that keep us going. Okay, babe?
Okay, Jen. Thank you very much. Hey, listen, we're ending the show. Don't hang up with me just yet. Uh,
Okay.
that is JennStar. This is Utility Room. I am
Uh,
Jello. You are Awesome Sauce. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
bye.